I've just come back from my morning walk and right now I'm preparing for my lecture. But to teach you law of diminishing marginal utility, I have decided to take a few glasses of orange juice. So let's see what happens when I take more and more glasses of orange juice. And here's the first glass. I'm extremely thirsty and I believe the first glass will give me maximum level of satisfaction and happiness. Wow! Now the second glass. How much satisfaction or utility do I get after taking my second glass? It was nice. Let's take the third glass. I will try to take the third glass now. The third glass has given me an average satisfaction. Let's take the fourth glass and let's see how much satisfaction do I get after taking my fourth glass. That's it. I can't take the fourth glass. So I think you have observed that first glass gave me maximum level of satisfaction or utility, the second glass gave me average satisfaction, the third glass gave me below average satisfaction, and the fourth glass did not give me any sort of satisfaction or utility. Even if I try to drink it, I may vomit. My utility will be negative. Don't skip the lecture if you really want to understand law of diminishing marginal utility from point A to point Z. Hello everyone, this is Shayan Siddiqui with you, an expert business and economics teacher, an educationalist and a professional corporate trainer. Welcome to my channel. Our today's lecture is about law of diminishing marginal utility and the lecture is going to be in English language. If you want to watch the same lecture in Urdu language, just click on this link. This link will lead you to my Urdu language video for the same topic, law of diminishing marginal utility. So without further delay, here we go. Welcome back. And here is the topic, law of diminishing marginal utility. Before I move on, I would like to request you, please do not skip this lecture. Normally, institution where you pay heavy fees, they take approximately 1 week to teach the same topic, law of diminishing marginal utility. And I'm going to take approximately 20 to 25 minutes of yours to teach you this topic from point A to point Z. So stay with me. Let's move on. Before I move toward law of diminishing marginal utility, you must understand these two terminologies. What are these? Utility and marginal. What is the meaning? Let's look at it. Utility means satisfaction or happiness you feel after consuming a product or a service. Whatever the product or whatever the service you consume, you feel a sort of satisfaction after consuming that. As you saw, when I drank the first glass of orange juice, I felt a sort of satisfaction. That is called utility, happiness. Okay, what is called marginal utility? Marginal utility is when I drank the second glass of orange juice, the happiness or the satisfaction driven from the second glass is called marginal. Do you understand? So let's read it. The additional utility you feel after consuming one more unit of that product or the service is called marginal. The additional satisfaction after consuming another unit of the same product. Let's move. Okay. Now, these are the definitions of law of diminishing marginal utility, and in this video I will show you approximately 3 definitions for the law of diminishing marginal utility. Whichever you want to write, you can write them down. Let's look at the first one. Law of diminishing marginal utility explains that as a person consumes an item or a product, the satisfaction or utility driven from the next consumed product will be less than the previous one. Getting my point? Refer back to my video, you will be able to understand what did I do when I drank the second glass of juice. my satisfaction was less than the first one. When I drank the third glass of juice, the satisfaction was even lesser than the second one. Okay, read the second definition. The law of diminishing marginal utility states that as consumption increases, the marginal utility, means the utility from the additional consumed unit derived from each additional unit declines. Ceteris Paribus. Keep it in your mind, law of diminishing marginal utility also has its own ceteris paribus. You must have to fix certain situations, then the law is applicable. If you don't know what is called ceteris paribus, here is the link and in the description below. Just click on it, go and watch my video on ceteris paribus. Moving on, the third definition here. Law of diminishing marginal utility states that as the amount of good consumed, the increased marginal utility of that good tends to decrease or diminish with more consumption of the same good. Clear? Moving on, it happens since the consumer's enjoyment of the good drops as more and more units are consumed. As more and more units are consumed, your enjoyment will be dropped. Now, according to Marshall, the additional benefit which a person derives from given increase in the stock of good, diminishes with every increase in the stock of already has. Ceteris Paribus. This is the Marshall's definition, and I have covered law of diminishing marginal utilities basic definitions, or you can also say main definitions. If you really want to search for other definitions of law of diminishing marginal utility, go ahead, do it. I don't mind. But these are the most reliable definitions you can use, whichever student you are, whether you are grade 11, 12, BCom, BBA, or you are studying an international curriculum, you can use these definitions. Moving on now, the ceteris paribus conditions for law of diminishing marginal utility. What are the ceteris paribus? You have to fix all these conditions in order to prove law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility is not proven if you do not fix them. Now, what are the ceteris paribus conditions? Number one, quality of the successive unit of good will remain same. There is no change in the quality of the product which you are consuming. The quality will remain same. If the quality is changed, then there is a chance that law will not be applicable, such as there is a strong belief in Muslims that when they will go to Jannah, God will bless them more and more blessings. Whatever they eat, the taste of that good will keep on increasing. So this law is not applicable on Jannah. Okay, that is a different case, and that is a reality according to Muslims' belief. So moving on, the second point, consumption of good should be continuous. There should be no gap in between. As you saw, when I was drinking orange juice, I was continuously drinking it. Okay, if I drink the first juice, then I go for a walk, and then I again come back and I drink the second juice. Maybe in one day I can drink 10 glasses. But if I continuously drink, I may not be able to drink more than 4 glasses. Did you understand? So the consumption should be continuous. The third ceteris paribus condition, while consuming the good, consumer's mental viewpoint should not change at all. Yes, his mental viewpoint should not change at all. He should not go mental, he should not go crazy, or anything which changes his mental state, or he may get more interested in consuming that product. Fashion and taste of the consumer should not change. Fashion should remain same, taste should remain same. There should be no change in that. Now there are some exemptions as well for the law of diminishing marginal utility. That law is not applicable on these conditions. Number one, the law is not applicable to addictive goods such as intoxication, consumption of beverages, alcohol, and so on, because when the person consumes those things, unfortunately he consumes more and more. He tends to consume more and more for that. Performance of religious and cultural activities, this law is not applicable on them, because the more you pray, the more satisfaction you get. So law is not applicable on that. And it's also not applicable on social and cultural activities, because whichever nation or culture you belong to, whatever you do according to your culture, you feel more and more satisfied. So this law is not applicable on that as well. Not applicable on collection of rare objects such as coins, old tickets and antiques, because yes, these are the things, if the person accumulate or collect more and more things, he get more and more satisfied. I used to collect in my childhood old coins, so the more coins I used to have, the more I was satisfied. So this law is not applicable on that as well. Desire of more and more money or race becoming rich, yeah, obviously this law is not applicable on this one as well. If you have a desire of becoming rich, or if you're running in the race to become a world's richest person, so the more money you get, the more you will be satisfied, because you can see the goal coming near to you. Gaining more education and knowledge, yes, I read a lot of books, so the more knowledge I get, the more I get satisfied. So the law is not applicable on gaining education or knowledge. Moving on, now let's look at the schedule or the schedule of law of diminishing marginal utility. In my video which you saw at the beginning of this lesson, I just drank 4 glasses, 3.5 glasses, and I could not drink the 4th one, but I have taken 7 glasses here. These are the numbers and these are the glasses which you can see start from glass 1 to glass 7. Now total utility and marginal utility. Let's look at it. When I drank the first glass, imagine I managed to drink 7 glasses of orange juice. When I drank the first glass, the total utility I got, the total satisfaction, the total happiness I got after consuming the first glass was 20. If I convert my satisfaction into the numbers, that was 20. So the marginal utility would obviously be 20 because there is no other glass consumed. I just drank the first glass, so marginal utility will be same as the total utility. Students really make serious mistakes when they write down these numbers. Second glass. When I drank the second glass, my total utility was 34. Total utility was increased. So the marginal utility will be how much? 34 minus 20, because the additional satisfaction I received after consuming the second glass of orange juice was 14. 34 minus 20, 14. Clear? The marginal utility driven from the second glass of orange was 14. Now let's move over the third glass. When I drank the third glass, the total utility was 44. The marginal utility was only 10. You observed that the marginal utility numbers are coming down. As I'm drinking more and more glasses of juices, you can see the marginal utility is declining. And when I drank the sixth glass, the marginal utility was 0, because the sixth glass did not give me any sort of satisfaction. The total utility of fifth glass and sixth glass was 57. There was no change, so I did not feel any sort of satisfaction after consuming my fifth and sixth glass. Now moving on. Imagine if I managed to drink the seventh glass, what will happen? I may vomit, or I may say, sorry, I now hate orange juice, I don't want to drink it. So my marginal utility will decline. It will go in negative instead of being in positive. Finally, on sixth glass, it touched to 0, and then on seventh glass, it went to negative. Are you getting my point? I may vomit, I may start hating orange juice, so it will go on negative. So that is what I say. When I consumed the seventh glass, the total utility was 54 and the marginal utility was -3. Now, how will I plot all this information on law of diminishing marginal utilities graph? There is no use of total utility when we draw a graph. We only take glasses and marginal utility because the graph is of marginal utility. So here we go. This is how we draw the graph, and I think this is quite childish. As you can see, x-axis and y-axis, I have explained it on and off in several videos. I have explained it, and these are the numbers. Now on y-axis I have taken marginal utility. The maximum utility is 20, so all the numbers will come in between 0 to 20. And on x-axis I have taken the glasses. The maximum number of glasses are 7, so obviously it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it clear? Now let's move on. Let's look at it in this schedule. Now when I drank the first glass, how much was my marginal utility? The first glass gave me maximum satisfaction. The marginal utility was 20. So here is the first glass. When I drank the first glass, the marginal utility was 20. Let's move on and let's look at what happens when I drank the second glass. Second glass gave me marginal utility, it was 14, and obviously the 14 will come just beneath 15. So the line for 14 is here and here it is. Okay, clear? The second glass gave me the marginal utility, which is 14. This is how we will draw law of diminishing marginal utilities graph. Don't skip the video, please. Okay, moving on. When I drank the third glass, so the marginal utility was 10. The line is there and it will come on the third glass. It's up to you whether you draw from here to there or there to here. It's up to you. Okay, moving on. The fourth glass gave me the satisfaction, which was 8. The fifth glass gave me satisfaction, which was 5. Now here are the numbers. Now important thing is there is a point which you can see on 6 and it's on 0. Why is it so? Simple thing. You are an economics student, and if you are my student, you must know that when I consume the sixth glass, as you can see in the schedule, the marginal utility was 0. So where will I plot? Where will I draw the point? Obviously on 6, because this sixth line is going straight to 0. Are you getting my point? Because the marginal utility from the sixth glass will straight go to 0. That's the reason there is a red point here. Clear? Now we have to join all these points and now see something strange will happen at the end. Okay, the points are being drawn and gone. Now, something special. Sir Shayan never taught us that the line we are drawing in any economics graph will go below the x-axis. This is quite strange, and in this graph it's happening. Look at the schedule. When I drank the 7th glass of orange juice, what was the marginal utility? The marginal utility was -3. So where will I plot -3? Obviously -3 will come below 0. You may have drawn different mathematics graph like this, which you can see here, that all the positive figures are above 0 and all the negatives are below 0. That makes sense. The same thing is happening here. Now just look at -3 is below 0. I will now zoom out this picture so that you can see what is happening here. Just look at it. So when I consumed the 7th glass, the marginal utility was -3. It was a negative. So obviously I have to draw it somewhere below 0. -3. Imagine if I consume the 8th glass, or I managed to drink the 8th glass, what will happen? I may be taken to hospital. So marginal utility will be in negative. Just imagine the number I get after consuming my 8th glass. It is -6. What will happen? I have to draw another point, which is -6, and I have to point the -6, and then I have to join these lines, and this law of diminishing line will go below and below, because the more unit you consume, your marginal utility will be in negative, and the numbers of negative marginal utility will keep on increasing the more and more units you consume. So the line will go below and below. Now let's look at it. Why are we studying law of diminishing marginal utility? Importance of law of diminishing marginal utility. Businesses basically set the prices of their product with the help of law of diminishing marginal utility. As you know that I'm a corporate trainer, I keep on visiting different businesses and so on. I know that they use different laws, different theories before they set the prices, before even they set the size of their products and so on, because it is a human nature that the more units they consume, the lesser they want, like different Coke size, Pepsi size, and so on. Now diamond and gold are scarce, so the margin and utility is very high, so the prices are also so high. The more gold, the more money, the more diamonds you have, the marginal utility will be higher. So that's the reason the prices are quite higher. Okay, the imposition of progressive tax concept is linked with the law, because the economists believe that the more money rich people have, the less is the utility of it. This is a belief in economics, that the more money people have, the utility or the satisfaction will be less. So the progressive tax is imposed on rich people. The law of demands concept is also linked with law of diminishing marginal utility somehow to some of the extents. This was law of diminishing marginal utility. I hope you have understood today's topic, law of diminishing marginal utility. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Or if you have already subscribed to it, please refer my channel to others so that they can also benefit from my lectures. Thank you so much for watching.